Yeah.
If 3K didn't do it, it ain't right.
Man, I just want you to know, evangelist, I do this for you. I'm praying for you. It's real. Okay, let's go. Yo, this a message to a young king.
Hey, what's up, King? So, listen, before I even get started, it's been heavy on me to just remind you to cop this 7-day devotional book. Listen to me. It's not about me making money. It's not because I'm the author, but it's because I truly believe that this book, this 7-day devotional, can change your life. Royalty is my DNA. All you got to do is go to www.evangelistnow.com. www.evangelistnow.com. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Yo, as you can see, we outside, right? Yeah, we back outside on the tennis court. Man, I also want to tell you today, don't forget to take the risk. Take the risk, my king. Take the risk. Don't be afraid to take the risk. Listen, it was said somewhere that whenever an idea fires up our soul, impossibilities vanish. So I'm telling you, remember that moment that you got that idea, that God placed that idea on your heart. You remember that moment before people started to get in your mind that you can't do this, or before things started to get hard. You just knew that, listen, this will work. I'm telling you, be consistent and do that thing. Don't be afraid to take the risk. Don't be afraid to bet on yourself. The fact that I'm doing this podcast right now shows that I'm not afraid to bet on myself. Yes, God told me to do this podcast, but faith without works is dead. So His word, without me working towards that word, would also be dead, because His word alone is faith. I'm telling you, He speaks into you. I'm telling you, King, you're watching this video for a reason. Don't be afraid to take the risk and bet on yourself. And when I say take the risk, let me be very, 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 very clear. I'm not talking about doing fraud. I'm not talking about selling drugs. Because when you take the risk, you have to have His standard. And you know, speaking of His standard, let's get into breaking down this crown, yo. You know, we already talked about being consistent. We talked about being reliable. We talked about being open. We talked about being wise. And the last letter in crown is N. Let's talk about being noble. When you're noble, you uphold the standard of God. You uphold His standard. So you don't have to do something under the table to get where you're going, because you uphold His standard. Matter of fact, you're a king. You uphold the standard. You don't just set out guidelines and set out rules and set out a standard for yourself, but you obey them. You understand what I'm saying? So most times we're unable to set the standard of God because we don't know His standard. But that's why I told you back in the last podcast to get in your word, so that His word can get in you. Once you know His language, you begin to know the characteristics. You know what He's standing on. You know what He goes for from what He don't go for. Like somebody knows. Alright, like with me, I got friends that aren't saved. They're not gonna hit me up and say, yo, let's go to the bar for a drink. They know I don't drink. Even when I was not saved, they know, okay, Nas, you don't drink, so I'm not gonna hit them up. They know that's my standard. What is your standard? You gotta stand on God's standard. That's the way to be noble. Like I said, once you search His word, you begin to find out His standard. Listen. And it's not just His commandments, but His standards all through His word. What's one of His standards? His standard is Romans 12 verse 2. What is it? Do not be conformed by the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, his standard is a mindset. Being consistent is a mindset. Being reliable to others is a mindset. Being open is a mindset. Being wise enough to know what a good decision is versus what a God decision is, where you're supposed to be, is a mindset. And obviously being noble, knowing God's standard and following suit with his standard, is a mindset. And understand that God also wanted us to know that there is no partiality with him. It's no either or. This is the standard. And he says that in Romans 2 verse 11, there is no partiality with God. There is none. And also, you cannot be a king, you can't uphold standards, and you can't be out there lying. Your word is truth. He said that it's John 17 verse 17. Sanctify them by your truth, for your word is truth. God's word is truth. So your word shall be truth. What are you speaking? As a king, how are you speaking to your people? Are you being the king that you should be? Are you noble? I'm telling you, today is the day, guys. The day is the day we get to wear our full crown and understand what it is. So I want to challenge you today. When you go out there, you uphold his standard. You stay consistent. You let people know that you're a reliable person. Let people know that you're open enough to take advice and open enough to new ideas, because you understand that God can use anybody. Let them know that you're wise enough to know, yeah, okay, that sounds good, but it still doesn't sound like God. How can we turn this good decision into a God decision? God, what do you want us to do? Let them know that you're noble. You're going to stand on business because you're going to stand for God. So as a king, I want to challenge you. God there, yeah. Stand on business. Do what you're supposed to do. But also stand on God. And know that being noble is going to take you further than just being you or just being regular. You're going to stand up and really walk into being a king when you noble. Stand on business, but stand on God. Listen, if you ain't heard nothing I said, that's a word right there. Stand on business, but stand on God. King, you can do it. Don't let nobody tell you can't do it. So God there, stand on business, but don't forget to stand on God. And you're a king. Consistent, reliable, open, wise, and noble. Get your crown, put it on, wear it, and go out there today. Peace.